Welcome to the Geek Initiative podcast.
I'm Tara the Bard.
And I'm Khaleesi. Today's topic is
Crossing the Streams, when nerdy hobbies and the real world collide. So as some of you probably know, the two of us LARP, as in live action roleplay, pick up some swords, beat up your friends, and from an outsider's perspective, we get that it could look silly. It might be easy to judge us, and we get that. And some people actually don't want to combine their geeky hobbies with their real lives for some very valid personal and professional reasons. Now, crossing the streams, you might originally know that term from Ghostbusters. Don't cross the streams. But it's a term that is applied in this specific way about, disclosing your LARPer status by a friend. And I can't give my friend credit because that would be crossing the stream. But I do have a good friend that applies the term this way regularly. And that's how we're using it here.
So why do people avoid it?
Well, people don't want to cross the streams because there's definitely a stigma, especially about LARPers.
Oh, God, yeah.
Yeah. It's seen as like the nerdiest of all the nerd things you can do. It's seen as childish by people that don't understand what benefits come from LARP. And people usually already have their own impression of LARPing. For example, maybe they've seen role models. In my opinion, not the worst impression ever, not the best. They kind of come with their preconceived notion of what LARPing is.
Some people have a professional reputation they need to protect. You guys may have heard about that politician, Jake Rush, who got outed as a LARPer in the middle of his campaign. Well, not the best time for that to come out.
Yeah.
And a lot of people also don't want to become the next big Tumblr meme. We've all seen the guy in the pig costume running around the woods. Don't be that guy.
Yeah, that's true. And it's also hard to define what LARPing is. And I used to actually market a LARP. And I have a very good little elevator pitch about what LARPing is, why you should do it, and why you should come to this particular game. And I still use it all the time. But even so, everybody comes to discuss LARPing with different notions or with none at all. And it's really hard to encapsulate what LARPing is into a little 2-minute speech.
A lot of people, especially in the younger crew, are worried about what their family will think, particularly if they're still financially dependent upon or living with their family. Not sure how you could hide LARPing if you were living with them, but my grandma's probably actually listening to this right now because she tends to stalk my friends' Facebook pages. So, hi, Grandma! Yeah.
So, why do people choose to actually cross the streams and integrate LARPing into their real life? I'll answer this first because this is something that I usually do. And I feel that it actually makes it more interesting and genuine. And I have the luxury of being able to do this because I'm a writer and editor. So people expect me to be a little eccentric, and it kind of adds to my authenticity when I'm like, I'm a topic expert on LARPing. Like, this is what I do. They're just like, are you kidding me? That's usually the response is, that's really cool. It does also kind of, improve my social life because I can bring non-LARPers into the hobby and just get more people involved, and also I'm able to hang out with everyone at the same time and not have to hide anything.
And it's really, really hard to hide everything. I actually have 2 Facebook accounts, one for me and one for my LARP character, and I use the one for my LARP character to RSVP for all of our events and things like that. But you can't control what your friends post. You may get outed by your friends if the people that you want to hide it from are stalking your friends' posts. And you also have to have very, very tight management over your friend lists.
Yeah, it's a lot of effort.
It's a lot of work.
I failed this thing. And the last reason is sometimes, people just don't want to hide part of who they are. I'm proud that I'm a LARPer. It's really goofy, but it's really fun. And if you don't have a problem with it, or if you have a problem with it, then oh well. That's part of me you're not accepting.
Kiss me, I'm Furball.
Yeah.
Basically.
Basically.
So, when does hiding or revealing your inner geek become a problem?
I've noticed and thought about two major areas when kind of being a closeted geek or LARPer can be a problem. Number one, if you are getting into a serious relationship with a non-LARPer and you are a LARPer, yeah, that could be rough. I get that LARP might not be the center of your life, especially when things are going in a difficult direction or a busy direction. Like, when I got married, like, LARP was not the center of my life. But when you do get into a serious relationship, it could cause problems if you're, like, super serious and then you're like, so, gotta tell you something.
Or if I'm a
LARPer.
Your significant other's arranging your closet and pulls out a foam sword and is like, what is this even?
Yeah, I mean, it's not the worst thing someone could find out about you because it's not, like, a bad thing to do, but, it might be easier if possible to explain it in the beginning. The other major way it could become a problem is if you've hidden it for professional reasons, which I think is especially a good reason to actually hide your status as a LARPer, depending on your industry. But what if you're found out at work? So you've hidden who you are, and then someone finds that meme on Tumblr, and there you are. That's kind of a problem. So if you've hidden your inner geek, I say, like, I see why, but you should have a pretty good way to deal with it prepared.
I may be house Terrelling it a bit too much here, but it's definitely one of those things you need to try to control. If you are, whether you're hiding or revealing it, you need to prepare for somebody finding out or not reacting in the way that you want. You don't want to look unprofessional, and there are many that may see this as an unprofessional hobby. So careful who you're revealing it to, and careful with what you say. And also, you might find that your social pool is a bit limited in terms of dating or friendships, because there may be some people who think, oh god, I don't want to date a LARPer. They're smelly, they're weird, they're going to beat me up with foam sticks.
Right, yeah, that's so true. And it comes back to our point of, how do we handle this in our lives? And do we cross the streams? And to what extent? And, I know I would never just walk down the street and be like, I'm a LARPer. But,
I'm Yara. I'm King Sailor.
Whatever. But I would go to a convention and be like, you should totally come LARP with me. So, do we ever cross the streams? And to what extent do we cross them?
I feel like there's a time and a place. When I sat down for my first lunch at my job, my boss's boss just straight out asked me, so, you're one of Tara's friends. Are you a LARPer?
Whoops, sorry, not sorry.
I was intending on keeping it sort of secret. I tend to tell people as my cover that it's a theater group, or, improv theater group, something like that, something along those lines. I don't normally reveal it straight off the bat. I try to get a feel on people, but I don't hide my other geeky interests.
I have the luxury of having a very creative job and lifestyle, so people actually expect me to be a little quirky. I'm also involved in a community theater group that is separate from LARPing, and so I usually also use that as a way of gauging, like, oh, are people really interested in theater? Because then I can take it to the next level and tell them about LARPing. Normally in social situations, I do not at all hide that I'm a LARPer. On my job interview for the job that I actually have now, I did reveal that I'm a LARPer, but it was like towards the end of the interview when they were like seriously delving into my creative pursuits to see if I was a good candidate for the job. You really have to be careful with that because people judge. So I generally cross the streams. I consider myself a topic expert on live action role playing, and so that's actually an asset in my field when I say that I'm an expert on the subject. That's kind of like a job requirement for anything that I would apply to. So it eventually comes up. I assume people are going to Google me, and I assume they're going to find what I want them to find, and what I want them to find is my controlled message of LARPing and LARP issues. But
I really envy that you can do that sometimes. I have to use my pen name of Khaleesi here.
Yeah.
Because I still would prefer my family stay out of this aspect of my life.
I am really fortunate, and I really recognize that other people can't necessarily just be out about their hobbies. I realize I can't just like run for office or like become a lawyer or something. Although I do know lawyers that are LARPers, but I couldn't easily transition into that kind of career without people asking questions. So, but before we sign off, we should talk about our next project over at Geek Initiative, and this is the best spoiler ever.
So, do you have a question for one of your favorite female fictional characters? Ask Marjorie Terrell and Inara Sarah for advice on friendships, work, dating, and relationships. For more information or to submit a question directly, head to geekinitiative.com/advice.
And that concludes Crossing the Streams, when nerdy hobbies and the real world collide. For more geeky content, please visit geekinitiative.com.
Thank you for listening.